milk, which is used to make biosteel, a material stronger than Kevlar. Fact 18. Richard Klinkhammer, a Dutch crime writer, wrote a suspicious book on 7 ways to kill your spouse 1 year after his wife disappeared. He became a celebrity and spent the next decade hinting that he murdered her, and in 2000 it turned out that he really had, after her skeleton was discovered at his former residence. Fact 19. In Siberia, there's a toilet located 8,500 feet above sea level at the top of the Altai Mountains. It serves the workers of an isolated weather station and is known as the world's loneliest toilet. Fact 20. When Shakira was in the 2nd grade, she was rejected from the school choir because her music teacher didn't think she could sing and thought she sounded like a goat. Fact 21. Cats are one of the only animals that domesticate themselves and approach humans on their own terms. Fact 22. Journalist Sara Bongiorni and her family attempted to live without Chinese-made goods for an entire year and found it almost impossible. They documented their experience in a book called A Year Without Made in China. Fact 23. In Japan, there are owl cafes where you can play with live owls while enjoying a drink or meal. Fact 24. In 1954, a man named John Thomas Doyle jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. His note read absolutely no reason other than "I have a toothache." Fact 25. Between the 1600s and 1800s, lobsters were known as the cockroaches of the sea. They were fed to prisoners and servants and were used as fish bait. Fact 26. There is a super tiny species of antelope called the dik-dik, named after the sound they make when alarmed. Fact 27. Termites are currently being researched by scientists at UConn and Caltech as possible renewable energy sources. They can produce up to half a gallon of hydrogen by ingesting a single sheet of paper, making them one of the planet's most efficient bioreactors. Fact 28. The first ever ticket purchase to the first ever Comic-Con in New York was by George R. R. Martin in 1964. He was the first of only 30 people there that day. Fact 29. Today there are more people suffering from obesity than there are suffering from hunger. Fact 30. In 2007, a man named Mike Warren Madden designed a device called the Aquatic Pram that allows you to take your fish for a walk. Fact 31. In Quebec, Sweden and Norway, it's illegal to advertise directly to children. This is to prevent companies from encouraging children to beg their parents to buy them stuff. Fact 32. Smokers are 4 times more likely to get grey hair in their lives than non-smokers. Fact 33. Marshmallows exist because of sore throats. For centuries, juice from the marshmallow plant has been used for pain relief. In the 1800s, it was mixed with egg whites and sugar for children with sore throats, and the recipe was so tasty that people turned it into a treat called marshmallow. Fact 34. Skunks have muscles next to their scent glands that allows them to spray their fluids accurately up to 10 foot away. Fact 35. Gorillas are known to sleep up to 12 to 14 hours a day. Fact 36. The length of human vessels in the body equate to 60,000 miles if you lay them out from beginning to end. Fact 37. There are 50 different types of kangaroo. Fact 38. Depending on the species of sharks, they can either give birth to live young or lay eggs. Fact 39. A man in Wisconsin took a photo containing 3 albino deer in the woods. The chances of this happening is 1 in 79 billion. Fact 40. A cockroach can live up to several weeks without its head. It only dies due to hunger. Fact 41. Humans can only live without oxygen uncle's can after he died. Fact 77. In 1996, DC and Marvel Comics published a crossover series where Wolverine and Batman were made into one character, called Darkclaw or Logan Wayne. Fact 78. There are roses that exist that are all black, but can only be found in Alfiti, Turkey. Fact 79. Sweden recycles so well that it actually has to import garbage from Norway in order to fuel its waste to power energy plants. Fact 80. There are actually 7 different types of twins. They are identical, fraternal, half-identical, mirror image, mixed chromosome, superfetation, and superfecundation. Fact 81. Pluto is smaller than Russia. Fact 82. There is a Pizza Hut perfume that smells like a fresh box of Pizza Hut pizza when you spray it. Fact 83. The tongue of a blue whale weighs more than an elephant, and its heart weighs more than a car. Fact 84. Labia Philist is the collection and study of beer bottle labels. Fact 85. Dolphins don't drink as seawater makes them ill or could even potentially kill them. Instead, they get all their liquids from the food that they eat. Fact 86. There are giant hornets in Japan with venom so strong it can melt human skin. Fact 87. Before the 17th century, carrots were purple until a mutation changed the colour to what we know now. Fact 88. Diet soda ruins your tooth enamel just as badly as cocaine and methamphetamines. Fact 89. The Okinawa Island in Japan has over 400 people living above the age of 100 and is known as the healthiest place on Earth. Fact 90. Skittles and jelly beans contain insect cocoons which are used to coat candies to give them that special shine known as shellac. Fact 91. Coca leaves are still used by Coca-Cola to this day. A company in New Jersey first extracts the cocaine from the leaves, giving the spent leaves to Coca-Cola to put in their drinks. Fact 92. The skin of a honey badger is so thick that it can withstand machete blows, arrows, and spears. The only sure way to kill one is to use a club or a gun. Fact 93. If the sun was scaled down to the size of a cell, the Milky Way would be the size of the United States. Fact 94. Grammatical pedantry syndrome is a form of OCD in which sufferers feel the need to correct every grammatical error they see. Fact 95. Every year the Netherlands send 20,000 tulip bulbs to Canada to thank them for their help in the Second World War. Fact 96. There is a flower called the chocolate cosmos that smells like chocolate but isn't edible. Fact 97. There is a house-sized shoe